Number 16. Abraham's wife, Sarai, not born any children for him, but she owned an Egyptian slave named Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, "Since the Lord has prevented me from bearing children, go to my slave. Perhaps through her I can build a family." And Abram agreed to what Sarai said. So Abram's wife, Sarai, took Hagar, her Egyptian slave, and took her to her husband, Abram, as a wife for him. This happened after Abram has lived in the land of Canaan 10 years. He slept with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When she realized that she was pregnant, she treated her mistress with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, "You are responsible for my suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and ever since she saw that she was pregnant, she has treated me with contempt. May the Lord judge between me and you." Abram replied to Sarai, "Here, your slave is in your hands. Do whatever you want with her." Then Sarai mistreated her so much that she ran away from her. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. He said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She replied, "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai." Then the angel of the Lord said to her, "You must go back to your mistress and submit to her mistreatment." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "I will greatly multiply your offspring, and they will be too many to count." Then the angel of the Lord said to her, "You have convinced and will have a son. You will name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your cry of affliction. Affliction? Affliction. This man will be like a wild donkey. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him. He will live at odds with all his brothers." So she called the Lord who spoke to her, the God who sees her, for she said, "In this place have I actually seen the one who sees me?" That is why she named the spring a well of the living one who sees me. It located between Ken and Bered. So Hagar gave birth to Abram's son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son Hagar had. Abram was 86 when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. Number 17. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him, saying, "I am God, Almighty, live in my presence, and be blameless. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you greatly." Then Abram fell face down, and God spoke with him. "As for me, my covenant is with you. You will become the father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abram, but your name will be Abraham. For I will make you the father of many nations." Wait, yeah. "And I'll make you extremely fruitful, and will make nations and kings come from you. I'll keep my covenant between me and you and your future offspring throughout their generations, as an everlasting covenant to be your God and the God of your offspring." Offspring throughout their generations, as an everlasting covenant to be your God and the God of your offspring after you. And to you and your future offspring, I'll give the land where you are residing, all the land of Canaan, as an eternal possession, and I'll be their God. God also said to Abraham, "As for you, you and your offspring after you throughout their generations are to keep my covenant. This is my covenant, which ye are to keep between me and you and your offspring after you. Even one of your males, you must circumcise the flesh of your foreskin to serve as a sign of the covenant between me and you throughout your generations. Every male among you, 8 days old, is to be circumcised. This includes a born in your house and one purchased with money from any foreigner. The one who is not your offspring, a slave born in your house, as well as one purchased with money, must be circumcised. My covenant will be marked as an everlasting covenant. If any male is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that male will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. God said to Abraham, as for your wife Sarai, do not call her Sarai, for Sarah will be her name. I will bless her, indeed, I will give you a son by her. I will bless her, and she will produce nations. Kings of peoples will come from her. And Abraham fell face down. Then he laughed and said to himself, can a children be born to a 100-year-old man? Can Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, give birth? So Abraham said to God, if only Ishmael were acceptable to you. But God said, no, your wife, Sarah, will bear you a son, and you will name him Isaac. And I will confirm my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant from his future offspring. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I'll certainly bless him. I'll make him fruitful and multiply him greatly. He will father 12 dry... Huh. I'll comfort my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you. Here, when he finished talking with him, God withdrew from Abraham. It's a bot, right? Damn, I struggled to open the home. Yeah, it was a bot. Then Abraham took his son Ishmael and all the slaves born in his house or purchased with his money, every male among the members of Abraham's household, and he circumcised the flesh of their foreskin on that very day, just as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised, and his son Ishmael was 13 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised. Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised, and all the men of his household, both slaves born in his house and those purchased with money from a foreigner, were circumcised with him. Ooh. Number 18. Then the Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre, while he was sitting in the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day, and he saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance to the tent to meet them, and bowed to the ground. Then he said, my Lord, if I have found a favor in your sight, please do not go on your path. Your servant, let a little water be brought, then you may wash your feet. Rest yourselves under the tree, and I'll bring a bit of bread, so that you may strengthen yourselves. This is why you have passed your servant's way. Later, you can continue on. Yes, they replied. Do as you have said. So Abraham threw it into the tent and said to Sarah, quick, knit 3 measures of fine flour and make bread. Meanwhile, Abraham ran to the herd and got a tender, choice cow. He gave it to a young man who hurried to prepare it. Then Abraham took curds and milk and the calf that he had prepared, and set them before the men. He served them as they ate under the tree. Where's your wife, Sarah? They asked him. They're in the tent, he answered. The Lord said, I'll certainly come back to you in about a year's time, and your wife, Sarah, will have a son. Now Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent behind him. Abraham and Sarah were old and getting on in years. Sarah had passed the age of childbearing, so she laughed to herself. After I have become shriveled up and my Lord is old, will I have delight? But the Lord asked Abraham, why did Sarah laugh, saying, can I really have a baby when I'm old? Is anything impossible for the Lord? At the appointed time I will come back to you, and in about a year she will have a son. Sarah denied it. I did not laugh, she said, because she was afraid. But he replied, no, you did laugh. The men got up from there and looked out over Sodom and Abraham was walking with him then to see them off. Oh, that's weird. Then the Lord said, "Should I hide what I am about to do from Abraham? Abraham is to become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen so that he will command his children, and what is right and just. This is how the Lord will fulfill to Abraham what he promised him." Then the Lord said, "Cry against Sodom and Gomorrah is immense, and their sin is extremely serious. I'll go down to see if what they have done justifies the cry that has come up to me. If I'm not, I will find out." Wait, what, was I 18? Yes. The men there and went toward the Lord. Abraham stepped forward and said, "Will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous in the city, righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away instead of sparing place for the sake of the 50 righteous people who are in it? You could not possibly do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. You cannot possibly do that. Won't the judge of all earth do what is just?" The Lord said, "If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I'll spare the whole place for their sake." Then Abraham answered, "Since I have ventured to speak to the Lord, even though I am dust and ashes, suppose the 50 righteous lack 5. Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5? He replied, "I will not destroy if I find 45 there." Then he spoke to him again. "Suppose 40 are found there." He answered, "I will not do it on account for 40. Then he said, "Let the Lord not be angry, and I will speak further. Suppose 30 are found there." He answered, "I'll not do it if I find 30 there." Then he said, "Since I have ventured to speak to the Lord, suppose 20 are found there." He replied, "I will not destroy on account of 20. Then he said, "The Lord not be angry, and I will speak one more time. Suppose 10 are found there." He answered, "I will not destroy it on account of 10. When the Lord had finished with Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. Number 19. The two angles entered Sodom so that in the evening, as Lot was sitting at Sodom's gate. When the Lot saw them, he got up to meet them. He bowed with his face to the ground and said, "My lords, turn aside to your servant's house. Wash your feet and spend the night, then you can get up early and go on your way." "No," they said, "we would rather spend the night in the square." But he urged them so strongly that they followed him and went into his house. He prepared a feast and baked unleavened bread for them, and they ate. Before they went to bed, the men of the city of Sodom, both young and old, the whole population, surrounded the house. They called out to the Lot and said, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out so we can have sex with them." Lot went out. Wait, where are the men who came out?
やっぱこのボスはパワー型が一番強いんだよ。今の俺タイプに戻ってこねえかな。
That included dudes, right? Let's not think about it. Lot went out to them, and at the entrance and shut the door behind him. He said, "Don't do this evil, my brothers. Look, I've got 2 daughters who haven't had sexual relation with a man. I'll bring them out to you, and you can do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men, because they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of the way," they said, adding, "This one came here as a foreigner, but he's acting like a judge. Now we will do more harm to you than to them." They put pressure on Lot and came up to break down the door, but the angels reached out, brought Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the entrance of the house, both young and old, with blinding light, so they were unable to find the entrance. Then the angels said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, a son-in-law, your sons and daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of this place, for we are about to destroy this place, because the outrage against its people is so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were going to marry his daughters. "Get up," he said, Get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his son-in-law thought he was joking. At daybreak, the angel urged Lot on. Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away to the punishment of the
日本語に
city.
した方がいいな。
But he hesitated because of the Lord's compassion for him. The man grabbed his hand for his wife's hand and the hands of his 2 daughters. Then they brought him out and left him outside of the city. As soon as the angels got them outside, one of them said, Run for your lives! Don't look back and don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run to the mountains, or you'll be swept away. But Lot said to them, No, my lords, please. Your servant has indeed found a favor in your sight, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. Disaster will overtake me, and I will die. Look, this town is close enough for me to run to. It is a small place. Please, let me go there. It's only a small place, isn't it? So that I can survive. And he said to him, All right, I'll grant your request about this matter too, and we will not demolish the town you mentioned. Hurry up, run there, for I cannot do anything until you get there. Therefore the name of the city is Zor. The sun had risen over the land where Lot reached Zor. Then out of the sky the Lord rained burning sulfur on the Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord. He demolished these cities and the entire plan, all the inhabitants of the cities, and lived on the ground. But his wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Early in the morning, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and all the land of the plain he saw that was smoke going up from the land were like the smoke of the furnace. So it was, when God destroyed the cities of, he remembered Abraham, and brought Lot out of the middle of the evil when he demolished the cities when Lot had left. Lot departed from Zor and lived in the mountains along with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to live in Zor. Instead, he and his daughters lived in a cave. Then the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as is the custom of the whole land. Come, let's get our father to drink wine, so that we can sleep with him, and preserve our father's line. So they got their father to drink wine at that night. And the firstborn came and slept with her daughter. Father, not daughter. That's lesbian. That's fucked up. Wait, I'm being public. Oh no. Who cares? Okay. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. The next day, the firstborn said to the younger, Look, I slept with the father last night. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight so you can go sleep with him, and we can preserve our father's line. That night, they got their father to drink wine. And the younger went and slept with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. So both of the Lot's daughter became their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son, and named him Mov, and he is the father of the Moabites of today. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she gave him Ben Ammi. Ammi. He is the father of the Ammonites of today. しかし見てた Number 20. From the Abraham traveled to the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he lived in Gerar, Abraham said about his wife Sarah, She is my sister. So Abimelech, king of Gerar, and Sarah brought to him. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, You are about to die because of the woman you have taken, for she is a married woman. Now Abimelech had now approached her, so he said, Lord, would you destroy a nation even though it is innocent? Did he himself say to my sister? And she herself said, He is my brother. I did this with a clear conscience and clean hands. Then God said to him in the dream, Yes, I know that you did this with a clear conscience. I have all sinning against me. Therefore, now let you touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet. He will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her, know that you will certainly die, and you and all who are yours. Early in the morning, Abimelech got up and called all his servants together and personally told him all these things. And the men were terrified. The Amalek called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How did I sin against you that you have brought such enormous guilt on me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that should never be done." Amalek said to Abraham, "What did you intend when you did this thing?" Abraham replied, "I thought there is absolutely no fear of God in this place. They will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. So when God had me wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'Show me your loyalty to me whenever we go and say about me, he's my brother.'" Then Amalek took sheep and cattle and male and female slaves, gave them to Abraham, and returned his wife Sarah to him. He said, "Look, my land is before you. Sit wherever you want." And he said to Sarah, "Look, I am giving your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a purification of your honor to all who are with you. You are fully vindicated."
準備でそうそう
Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, his female slaves, so that they could bear children.
アグレッシ
For
ブ
the Lord had completed all the wombs in Abimelech's household.
変態変質者が
For the Lord had completely closed all the
あれ結構
wombs
反
in
対多いんだね だったら
Abimelech's
ね蝶々まで反転つけて
household
るよちゃ
on
んと
account of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
あいやあぶねそうそう飛んでくるな逃げろ あーダメ
Number 21. The Lord came to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, and appointed time God had told him. Abraham named his son who was born to him, the one Sarah bore to him, Isaac. When his son was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God had commanded him. Abraham was 8 years old when his son Isaac.
ダメだ回復されんな攻
I'm
撃
searching what circumcised mean, so I can understand it better. Not really. I'm just interested.
なんとなく走りが終わったぞ今走りじゃねえけど機械が分かったぞ
Circumcised.
パチンってしねえんだ
Cut off a foreskin of a young boy or man, especially a baby, as a religious faith. Huh.
パンチですな
Oh wait, so that's. I don't know what foreskin is. Sarah said, "God has made me laugh, and everyone who hears will laugh with me." She also said, who would have told Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne a son for him in his old age. The child grew and was weaned. Abraham held his great feast on the day Isaac
当たっ
was
てなんだ
weaned.
初めて
But Sarah saw the son mocking, the one Hagar, the Egyptian has borne to Abraham. So she said to Abraham, "Drag out this slave with her son, for the son of this slave will not be clear with my son Isaac." Now this was my very difficult thing for Abraham because of his son. But God said to Abraham, "Do not be concerned about my boy and your slave. Whatever Sarah says to you, listen to her, because your offspring will be traced through Isaac.
あ近い
Will make a nation of slaves because he is your offspring." Early in the morning, Abraham got up, took bread and a water
結
skin,
構使ってくるんだね
hang
知らなかった
Hagar's shoulders, and sent her and the boy away. She left and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water and the skin was gone, she left the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down nearby, about a bullshot away from the she said.
まあいいや
For she said, "I can't bear to watch the boy die." So as she sat nearby, she wept loudly.
そうそう強攻撃
God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of the God called to Hagar from heaven, and said to her, "What's wrong, Hagar? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy from the place where he is. Get up, help the boy up, and support him, for I will make him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the water skin, and gave the boy a drink. The God was with the boy, and he settled in the wilderness and became an archer. He settled in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. At that time, Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do. Swear to me by God, here and now, that you will not break an agreement with me or with my children and descendants, as I have been loyal to you. So you'll be loyal to me and the country where you are a foreign resident." And Abraham said, "I swear it." But Abraham complained to Abimelech because of the water well that Abimelech's servant had seized. Abimelech replied, "I don't know who did this thing. He didn't report anything to me, so I hadn't heard about it until today." Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and two of them made a covenant. Abraham separated two ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "Why have you separated these 7 ewe lambs?" He replied, "You are to accept the 7 ewe lambs from my hand, so that this act witness thou." Therefore that place was called Beersheba, because it was there that two of them swore an oath. After they had made a covenant at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, left and returned to the land of Philistines. Abraham's tree in Beersheba, and he called the name of the Yahweh, the everlasting God. And Abraham lived as foreigner in the number 2. After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, "Abraham, son," he said, "your only son, Isaac, whom you love, go to the land of Moriah, offer the burnt offering on one of the mountains I'll tell you about." So Abraham got up early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took him 2 of his young men and his son Isaac. He split wood for a burnt offering and set out to go to the place that God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in distance. Abraham said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there to worship. Then we will come back to you." Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and lit it on Isaac. In his hand he took the fire and sacrificial knife, and the two of them walked on together. Then Isaac spoke to his father Abraham and said, "My father." And he replied, "Here I am, my son." Isaac said, "The fire and the wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham answered, "God himself will provide a lamb for the burnt offering, my son." Then the two of them walked on together. When they arrived at the place that God had told him about, Abraham built the altar there and arranged the wood. He bound his son Isaac, placed him on the altar on the top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out and took the knife to slaughter his son. His son? But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, "Abraham, Abraham." He replied, "Here I am." Then he said, "Do not lay on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your only son from me." Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it to the burnt offering in the place of his son. And Abraham named the place, "The Lord will provide." So today it is said, "It will be provided on the Lord's mountain." The angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, by myself, I have sworn. This is the Lord's declaration, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your only son, I will indeed bless you, and make your offspring as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sand on the seashore. Your offspring will possess the gates of their enemies, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring because you have obeyed my command. Abraham went back to his young men, and they got up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham settled in Beersheba. Now, after these things, Abraham was told, Milcah also has borne two sons to your brother Nahor, Uz, his firstborn, his brother Buz, Camel, and the father of Aram, Ches, Hazol, Peldash, Jeblath, and Bethuel. And Bethuel fathered Rebekah. Milcah bore these eight to Nahor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, whose name was Reumah, also bore Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah.
書きますね。
Number 23. Now, Sarah lived 127 years. These were all the years of her life. Sarah died with Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah, to weep for her.
あ、決して見に行
Then Abraham got up, and beside his dead wife, spoke to the Hittites. Yeah, I am a foreign resident among you. Give me a burial site among you so that I can bury my dead. The Hittites replied to Abraham, Listen to us, Lord. Your God chosen one among us. Bury your dead in your finest burial place. None of us will withhold from you is for burying your dead. Then Abraham rose and bowed to the
く。では
Hittites,
じゃあこう
the people of the land. He said to them, If you are willing for me to bury my dead, listen to me and ask Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf, to give me the cave of Machpelah that belongs to him. It's at the end of his field.
右当たって
Let him give it to me in your presence for the full price as a burial site. Ephron was sitting at the Hittites, so in the presence of all the Hittites who came to the gate of the city, Ephron the Hittites answered Abraham, No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead. Abraham bowed down to the people of the land, and said to Ephron in the presence of the people of the land, Please listen to me, and let me pay the price of the field. Accept it from me, and let me bury my dead there. Ephron answered. Abraham said to him, My lord, listen to me. Land worth 400 shekels of visit between you and me. Bury your dead. Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed out to Ephron the silver that he had agreed to in the presence of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver at the current commercial rate. So Ephron's field at Machpelah, near Mamre, the field with its cave and all the trees anywhere within the boundaries of the field became Abraham's possession in the presence of all the Hittites who came to the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field at Machpelah, near Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field with its cave passed from the Hittites to Abraham as a burial site. Number 24. Abraham was now old, getting on in years, and the Lord had blessed him in everything. Abraham said to his servant, the elder of this household, who managed all he owned, place your hand under my thigh, and I will have you swear that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I am left, but who will go to my family to take a wife for my Isaac. The servant said to him, Suppose the woman is unwilling to follow the land you came from? Abraham answered him, Make sure that you don't have to take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from my native land, who spoke to me and swore to me, I will give this land to your offspring. He will send his angel before you, and you can take a wife for my son from there. If the woman is unwilling to follow you, then you are free from this oath to me. But let my son go back there. So the servant placed his hand under his master's Abraham's thigh. thigh and swore an oath to him concerning this matter. The servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed with all kinds of his master's good in hand. Then he set out for Nahar's town, and Ramnaharian. He made camels kneel beside a well of water outside of the town at evening. This was the time when you and woman went out to draw water. The God of my master Abraham, he prayed, give me the success today, and show kindness to my master Abraham. I am standing here at the spring, where the daughters of the men of the town are coming out to draw water. To let the girl to know who I'm say, please lower your water jug so that I may drink. And who responds, drink, and I will water your camel also.
勝ってやる。
Let her be the one you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this, I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. Before he had finished speaking, there was Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother, Nahor,
くそや。
coming with a jug on her shoulder. Now the girl was very beautiful and young. 30
よし、攻撃。
A young woman who had not known a man intimately. She went down to the spring, filled her jug, and came up. No! Not my water.
最強の剣士とかおかしいだろ
No.
うな。元最強 そうそう、もう一回してきそうだな。
She went down to the spring, filled her jug, and came up. Then the servant ran to the meter and said, please let me have a little water from your jug. She replied, drink, my lord. Quickly lowered her jug to her hand and gave him a drink. When she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will also draw water for your camels until they had enough to drink. She quickly emptied her jug into the trough and hurried to the well again. She drew water for all his camels. The man silently watched her to see whether or not the Lord had made his journey a success. After the camel had finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighed a shekel, and for her rest 2 bracelets weighing 10 shekels of gold. Whose daughter are you? He asked. Please tell me in the room in your father's house for us to spend the night. She answered, I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. She also said to him, we have plenty of straw and feed and a place to spend the night. Then the man bowed down, worshipped the Lord, and said, praise the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his kindness and faithfulness from my master. As for me, the Lord has led to me the journey to the house of my master's relatives. The girl ran and told her mother's house about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban, and Laban ran out to the man at the spring as soon as he had seen the ring and the bracelets of his sister's wrist. And when he had heard his sister Rebekah's word, the man said this to me. He went out to the man. He was standing there by the camels at the spring. What was that sound?
攻撃してくんねえかな。ありがとう。
That was weird.
よし、もう一度。 あね
Laban said, come you who are blessed by the Lord, why are you standing out there? I have prepared the house and a place for the camels. So the man came to the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and feed were given to the camels, and water was brought to wash his feet, and the feet of with him. A meal was set before him, but he said, I will not eat until I have said what I have to say. So Laban said, please
そう
speak.
そう、飛んできそうだ。
I am Abraham's servant, he said. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become rich. He has given him sheep and cattle and gold, male and female slaves, and camels and donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. my master put me under this oath. You will not take wife for my son from the daughter of the Canaanites, and whose line I live. I will go to my father's household and to my family to take a wife for my
マ
son.
ジで飛んできそう
But
だ
I
怖い
said
ね
to my master, suppose a woman will not come back with me. He said to me, the Lord, before whom I have walked with, will send his angels with you and make your journey a success, and you'll
セ
take
ットなのかな
a wife for my son from my family and from my father's
なぜ
household.
だろうか
Then you will be free from my oath if you go to my family and they do not give her to you, and you will be free from my oath. Today, when I came to the spring, I prayed, Lord, God of my master, Abraham, if only you will make my journey successful. I am standing here at the spring with the Persian who come out to draw water, and I say to her, please let me drink a little water from your jug. And who responds to me, drink, and I'll draw water for your camels also. Let her be the woman the Lord has appointed for my master's son. Before I had finished praying silently, there was Rebecca coming with her jug on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew water. So I said to her, please let me have a drink. She quickly lowered her jug from her shoulder and said, drink, and I'll camels also. So I drank, and she also watered the camels. Then I asked her, whose daughter are you? She responded, the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrist. Then I bowed down, worshipped the Lord, and praised the Lord, the God of Abraham, who guided me on the right way to take the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you're going to show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me. If not, tell me, and I'll go elsewhere. Laban and Bethuel answered, this is from the Lord. We have no choice in the matter. Rebecca isn't here in front of you. Take her and go. Let her be a wife for your master's son, just as Lord has spoken. When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed to the ground before the Lord. Then he brought out objects of silver and gold and garments and gave them to Rebecca. He also gave precious gifts to her brother and mother. And then he and the men with him ate and drank and spent the night. When they got up in the morning, he said, send me to my brother, to my master. But her brother and mother said, let the girl stay with us for about 10 days. Then she can go. But I responded to them, do not delay me, since the Lord has made my journey a success. Send me away so that I can go to my master. So they said, let's call the girl and ask her opinion. They called Rebecca and said to her, will you go with this man? She replied, I will go. So they sent away their sister Rebecca with one who had nursed and raised her, Abraham's servant and his men. They blessed Rebecca, saying to her, our sister, may you become 1,000 upon the 10,000. May your offspring possess the gates of their enemies. Then Rebecca and her female servant got up, mounted the camels, followed the man, so the servant took Rebecca and left. Now Isaac was returning from Beer
うちに行ってくれた
Lahai, for he was living in the Negev region. And early evening, Isaac went out to walk in the field. Looking up, he saw camels coming. Rebecca looked up, and when she saw Isaac, she got down from her camel and asked the servant, who is that man in the field coming to meet us? The servant answered, it is my master. So she took her and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac everything he had done. And Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother, Sarah, and took Rebecca to be his wife. Isaac loved her. This is getting streamed in Dark Souls 3. I completely forgot. I was supposed to put this in just chatting. Who cares? I make mistakes. This makes more sense.
何のボタンを押したんだろ
It was weird. Completely forgot about it. They called Rebecca and said to her, will you go with this man? She replied, I will. Oh, wait. Now Isaac was It is my master. And Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother. Oh yeah, and I'm at number 25. Okay.
カメラあった方が絶対面白いだろ
Whew. Number 25. Now Abraham had taken another wife, whose name was Kitran, Jokshan, Midan, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan fathered Sheba and Diban. Diban's sons were the Ashram, Lichshem, and Lumimimi. And Nidan's sons were Ephah,
あ、うるせえうるせえ
Epher, Hanok, and Abida, and Elda. And these were sons of Keturah. Abraham gave everything he owned to Isaac, and Abraham gave gift to the son of his concubine. He sent them eastward from his son Isaac to the land of the east. That is 175 years. He took his last breath and died at the ripe of old age, old and contented, and he was scattered to his people. And Isaac and Ishmael buried him alive, buried him in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, in the field of Elhor and
まだ火山攻略
Hittite. This was a field that Abraham was buried there with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who lived near Beer Lahai Roy. These are the family records of Abraham's son Ishmael, who Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's slave, bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's son. Their name, according to the family records, are
あ、やべ文句や
Nebaioth, Ishmael's firstborn, then Kedar, Advil, Mivsam, Mishma, Duma, Masa, Habad, Tema, Jetur, Nafish, and Kedamah. These are the Ishmael's son, and these are the names by their villages and encampments, top leaders of their clans. This is the length of Ishmael's life, 137 years. He took his last breath and died, and was scattered to his people, and they settled from Havilah to Shur, which is opposite Egypt as you go toward Ashur. He lived in opposition to all his brothers. Where was I? These are the family records of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took as his wife Rebekah, daughter of Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord heard his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. But the children inside her struck each other, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two people will come from you and be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When the time came to give birth, there were indeed twins in their womb. The first one came out red-looking, covered with hair like a fur coat, and they named Esau. After this, his brother came out grasping Esau's heel with his hand, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. When the boys grew up, Esau became an expert hunter and outdoorsman, but Jacob was a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for wild game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the field exhausted. He said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of the red stuff because I am exhausted." This is why he also named Edom. Jacob replied, "First sell me your birthright." "Look," said Esau, "I'm about to die, so what good is birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to Jacob and sold his birthright to him. Then Jacob gave bread and lentil stew to Esau. He ate, drank, got up, and went away. So Esau despised his birthright. Number 26. There was another famine in the land of addition to the one that has occurred in Abraham's time. And Isaac went to Abimelech, the king of Philistines, at Gerar. The Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land I tell you about. Stay in the land as a foreigner, and I will be with you and bless you. For I will give all these lands to you and your offspring. And I will confirm the oath that I will swear to you, your father Abraham. I will make your offspring as numerous as the stars of the sky. And I will give your offspring all this land, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring. Because Abraham listened to my voice and kept my mandate, my commands, my statutes, and my instructions." So Isaac settled in Gerar. When the man of the place asked about his wife's sister, for he was afraid to say, "My wife," thinking, "This will kill me on account of Rebekah. She is a beautiful woman." When Isaac has for some time, Abimelech, king of Philistines, looked from his window and was surprised to see Isaac carrying Rebekah. Abimelech sent for Isaac and said, "So she is really your wife? How could you say she is my sister?" Isaac answered him, "Because I thought I might die on account of her." Then Abimelech said, "What is that you've done to us? One of the people could easily have slept with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us." So Abimelech warned all the people with these words, "Whoever harms this man or his wife will certainly die." Isaac sowed seed in the land, and in the year he reaped 100 times what was sown. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich and kept getting richer until he was very wealthy. And he has flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, and many slaves, and the Philistines were envious of him. The Philistines stopped up all the wells that his father's slaves had dug in the days of his father Abraham, filling them with dirt. And Abimelech said, "Leave us, for you are too powerful for us." So Isaac left there, camped in the valley of Gerar, and lived there. Isaac responded the water wells that he had dug in the days of his father Abraham, and that Philistines had stopped after Abraham had died, the name his father had given them. Then Isaac's slave dug and found a well of spring water there. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen and said, "So he will quarrel, because they quarreled with them." Then they dug another well, quarreled over that one also, and he named it Hostility. He moved from there and dug another, and they did not quarrel over it. He named it Open Spaces and said, "For now the Lord has made room for us, and we will be fruitful in the land." From there he went up to Beersheba, and the Lord has reached him that night and said, "I am the God of your Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you, and I will bless you, multiply your offspring, because my servant Abraham." So he built an altar there, called the name of the Yahweh there. Isaac's slaves also dug a well there. Now Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Azazeth, his advisor. Isaac said to him, "Why have you come to me? You hated me as you." They replied, "We have clearly seen how the Lord has been with you. We think there should be an oath between you two parties, and between us and you. Let us make a covenant with you. You'll not harm us, just as we have not harmed you, but have only done what was good to you. Send you away in peace, blessed by the Lord." So he prepared a banquet for them, and they ate and drank. They got up early in the morning and swore an oath to each other. Then Isaac sent them on their way, and they left in peace. On that same day, Isaac's slave came to him about the well they had dug, saying to him, "The water He called it Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took his wives in Judah, daughter of Beri and Hedi, the base math, daughter of Elon Hedi. That's okay. They made his life better, and for Isaac and Rebekah.
それちょっといいや。なんでカブカンそんな強くないでしょ。理由がある。
Okay. Water. Okay. Number 27. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could not see, he called his older son Esau and said to him, My son. And he answered, Here I am. He said, Look, I am old and do not know the day of my death. Take your hunting gear, your quiver and bow, and go out in the field to hunt some game for me. Then make me a delicious meal that I love and bring it to me to eat, so I can bless you before I die. Now Rebekah was listening to this to her son Esau. So while Esau went to the field to hunt some game to bring in, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, Listen, I heard your father talking with your brother Esau. He said, Bring me the game and make a delicious meal for me so that I can eat, so I can bless you in the Lord's presence before I die. Now obey every order I give you, my son. Go to the flock and bring me 2 choice of young goats, and I'll make them into a delicious meal for your father, the kind he loves. Take it to your father to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies. Jacob answered Rebekah, his mother Esau is a hairy man, but I am a man with smooth skin. Suppose my father touches me, then I will be rebelled to him as a deceiver, and bring a curse rather than a blessing on myself. His mother said to him, Your curse be on me, my son. Just obey me and go get them for me. So he went and got the goats and brought them to his mother, and his mother made the delicious food his father loved. Rebekah took the best clothes for her older son Esau, which were in the house, and had her younger son Jacob wear them. She put the skin of the young goats on his hand and smoothed part of his neck. Then he handed the delicious food and the bread she had made him to her son Jacob. When he came to his father, he said, My father. He answered, Here I am. Who are you, my son? Jacob replied to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please stop and eat some of the game, so that you may bless me. But Isaac said to his son, How did you even find this so quickly, my son? He replied, Because the Lord, your God, worked it out for me. Then Isaac said to Jacob, Please come closer so I can touch you, my son. Are you really my son Esau or not? So Jacob came closer to his father Isaac. When he touched him, he said, The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like. So he blessed them. Again, he asked, Are you really my son Esau? And he replied, I am. Then he said, Serve me, and let me eat some of my son's game so I can bless you. Jacob brought it to him, and he ate. He brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, Please, come closer and kiss me, my son. So he came closer and kissed him. When Isaac smelled his clothes, he blessed him and said, Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the field, and the Lord has blessed. May the God give to you from the dew of the sky, and from the richness of the land, an abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you, and a nation bow down to you. Be master of your brothers. May your brother's son bow down to you. Those who curse you will be cursed. Those who curse you will be cursed, and those who bless you will be blessed. As soon as Jacob has finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob has left the presence of his father Isaac, his brother Esau arrived from the hunt. He had also made some delicious food and brought it to his father. Then he said to his brother, Then my father get up and eat some of his son's game, so that you may bless me. But his father Isaac said to him, Who are you? He answered, I am Esau, your firstborn son. Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably. Who was it then? He said, who hunted the game and brought it into me. I ate it all before you came in. I blessed him, indeed he will be blessed. When his daughter heard his father's words, he cried out loud, and bitterly cried, said to his father, "Bless me to my father." And he replied, "Your younger brother came decisively and took your blessing." So he said, "Isn't he rightly named Jacob? For he has cheated me twice now. He took my birthright, and look, now he has taken my blessing." Then he asked, "Haven't you saved a blessing for me?" But Isaac, Isaac answered his son, "Look, I have made him a master over you, and have given all of his relatives and his servants, and sustained him with grain and new wine. What then can I do for you, my son?" Isar said to my father, "Do you only have one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." Esau wept loudly, and his father Isaac answered him, "Look, your dwelling place will be away from the riches of the land, away from the dew of the sky above. You will live by your sword, and you will always serve your father. But when you rebel, you will break your yoke from your neck." Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him, and Esau determined in his heart, "The days of my father are approaching. Then I will kill him." When the words of her older son Esau were reported to Rebekah, she summoned her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Listen, your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. So now, my son, listen to me. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him for a few days until your brother's anger subsides, until your brother's rage turns away from you and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send you and bring you back from there.
あれだな。
Why should I lose both in one
あ
day?"
これかこれか。
So Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm sick of my life because of these Hittite women. If Jacob marries a Hittite woman like one of them, what good is my life?" Number 28. Isaac summoned Jacob, blessed him, and commanded him, "Don't take a wife from the Canaanite woman. Go at once to Paddan Aram, to the house of the Bethuel, your mother's father. Marry one of the daughters of Laban,
あれよ。
and your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, so that you become an assembly of people. May God give you and your people, your offspring, the blessing of Abraham, so that you may possess the land where you live as a foreigner, the land God gave to Abraham." So Isaac sent Jacob to Paddan-aram to Laban, son of the Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau noticed that Isaac blessed Jacob and sent him to Paddan-aram to get a wife there. When he blessed him, Isaac commanded Jacob, "Do not marry a Canaanite woman." And Jacob listened to his father and mother and went to the Paddan-aram. Esau realized his father Isaac disapproved of the Canaanite women. So Esau went to Ishmael and married in addition to his other wives, Mahlah, daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. She was the sister of Nebaioth. Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran. He reached a certain place and spent the night there. Because the sun had set, he took one of his stones from the place, put it there in his head, and lay down in the ground in the place, and he dreamed. A stairway was set on the ground and was top reaching heaven, and gods, angels, were going up and down on it. Yahweh was standing there beside him, saying, "I am Yahweh. I am Yahweh." "I am Yahweh, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your offspring the land, and you are now sleeping on it.
どうしたらいいだろうか。
Your sleeping on your offspring will be like the dust of the earth, and you'll spread it out toward the west, the east, the north, and the south. All the people on the earth will be blessed throughout your and your offspring. Look, I am with you, and watch over you. Wherever you go, I will bring you back, and I will not leave you until I have not promised you." When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I will not did not know it." He was afraid and said, "What an awesome place this is! This is one of the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." Early in the morning, Jacob took the stone and near his head and set it up as a marker. He poured oil on top of it and named the place Bethel. Though the previous city was named Luz, then Jacob made a bow. "If God will be with me and watch over me on this journey, if he provides me with food to eat and this journey, and if he provides me with food to eat and clothing to wear, and if I return safely to my mother's father's house, then the Lord will be my God. This stone that I have set up as a marker will be the
数
God's
を打つほど絶対当たる。そう願ってレズミ G を使うよ。
and I will give to you a tenth of all that you give me." Okay, not that much. Yeah,
まあ、違かないんか。
Number 29. Jacob resumed his journey. He went to the east, he looked up and saw a well in the field,
そうだ。
three flocks of sheep
多分こいつが
beside it. And because the sheep rushed water from this well, cover the opening of the well. When all the flocks were gathered around, the shepherds would roll the stone from the opening of the well and the sheep. The stone was in place back on the well's opening. Jacob asked the men at the well, "My brothers, where are you from?" "We are from Haran." "We are from Haran," they answered. Do you know Laban, grandson of Nahor?"
まあ、来たら、
Jacob asked him.
何しよう
They
かな。
answered, "We know him." "Is he
また
well?"
スポンスの
Jacob
話を
asked.
変えるの忘れとった。
"Yes," they said. "And here's his daughter Rachel coming with the sheep." Then Jacob said, "Look, it is still broad daylight. It's not the time for animals to be gathered. Water the flock
色地に
and
高
let
いよ
them
な。
graze." But they replied,
きれいな。
"We cannot do the
What,
flocks.
Quran?
We will gather at the stone is the rope and the will's opening. Then we go after the sheep." While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep. She was shepherdess. That's weird. As soon as Jacob saw his uncle Laban's daughter, Rachel with his sheep,
リスキルしてみ
he
やがれ。
went and rolled the stone from the opening with his uncle's Laban's sheep.
度胸なしで。
Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept loudly. He told Rachel that he was a father's relative, Rebecca's son, and she ran and told her father.
あ
Laban
れだな。
heard the news about his sisters, ran to meet him, hugged him,
そうな
and
んだ。
kissed him. Then he took him to his house. And Jacob told him about what had happened.
ざっけんな。
Laban said to him, "Yes, you are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with him 1 month, Laban said to him, "Just because you're my
こっち側の窓もあれだな。まだ書きよ。
you're for nothing. You told
そこ
me
開いてない
your wages should be."
こ
Now
うは
Laban has
あ
two
そこからディスキル
daughters,
してもらっ
older, named Leah, named Rachel.
てた。
Leah had 4 eyes, but Rachel was
どうしよっかな。
sweet and beautiful. Jacob loved Rachel, so he answered
ま
Laban,
ず一番大事なの。
"For 7
Right.
years for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban replied, "That I gave to your son, stay with me."
だからどうにか。
So Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Then Jacob
Wait,
said to
yo.
Laban, "Give me my time is completed. I want to sleep with her." So
大事な。
Laban invited all the men of the place to feast.
あ、俺の
That evening,
穴だ。
Laban took his
間の
daughter
穴があったら楽
Leah,
だろう
gave her to Jacob, and slept with her. Laban gave his slave Zilpah to his daughter Leah as her slave. When morning came, there was Leah.
あ
So
ー、
he said,
怖っ。
What is
That's like
what is
a
this
guy
you
who
have
works
done to me? Wasn't it for Rachel that I worked for you? Why have you deceived me? The man answered, "It is not the custom of this place to give you the young daughter for the firstborn. Complete this week of wedding celebration, and we will also give you this younger one.
うわ
Yet another 7 years for me." Jacob did just that. He finished the week of celebration.
移動するの忘れてた。
He gave him the daughter Rachel as his wife, and Laban gave his slave Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her slave. Jacob slept with Rachel also, and indeed he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he worked for Laban another 7 years.
よし。
Damn. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, He opened her womb,
So, yeah,
but
understood.
Rachel was unable to conceive. Leah conceived, gave birth to a son, and named him Reuben. The Lord has seen my affliction, and surely my husband will love me now. She conceived again, and gave birth to a son, and said the Lord, and said,
Capire
The
un po'.
Lord that I am loved, and has given me
Oh, no,
that
capire.
son also. She named him Simeon. She conceived again,
使ったら
gave
死ぬ
birth
け
to a son, and said, At last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne 3 sons for him. Therefore he named them Levi. Also she conceived again, gave birth to a son, and said, This time I'll praise the Lord. Therefore named him Judah. Then Leah stopped having children. Number 30. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she envied her sister. Give me sons, or I will die, she said to Jacob. Jacob became angry with Rachel and said, Am I in God's place who has withheld children from you? Then she said, Here is my slave Bilhah.
楽しいな。
Go to sleep with her, and now she'll bear children for me. So through her, I too can build a family. So Rachel gave Bilhah to Jacob as a wife, and he slept with her. Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Rachel said, God has vindicated me. He has heard me and given me a son. And she named him Dan. Rachel's slave Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Rachel said, And wrestling with God, I have wrestled with my sister and won, and named with Naphtali.
誰か来てる。
When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, and she took from Zilpah, and gave her Jacob as a wife, Leah's slave Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah returned, and she named him Gad. Leah's slave Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Leah said, I am happy that woman called Reuben went out during the and found some mandrakes in the field. When he brought them to his mother, Leah Rachel asked, Please give me some of your sons. But Leah replied to her, Is it enough that you may have taken my husband? I also want to take my son's mandrakes. Well, Rachel said, You can sleep with them tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes. When Jacob came from the field that evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, You must come with me, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. So Jacob slept there that night. God listened to Leah. She conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, God has rewarded me for giving me my slave to my husband. And she named him Eshar. Then Leah conceived again, bore Jacob a sixth son. Then God gave me a gift. Leah said, This time my husband will honor me because I have borne 6 sons for him. And she named him Zebulun. Later, Leah bore a daughter named Dinah. You can see the writer of this got bored.
下手だ。
Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her, bore a son, and
そん
said,
なんじゃなくて、よっから
God
別
has
に
taken my
見てよ
shame.
かったものを。
She named him Joseph. May the Lord and add another son to me. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban,
負けた。
Send me on my ways, that I can return to my
いや、ちょう
homeland.
ど1にたまれて
Get my wives and children that I have worked for, and let me
な
go.
んなの
And you know how I have worked for
そう
you.
かそうか。
But
ウェイ
Laban
です
said to him,
か。いや、登れよかったよ。
I have learned my divination that the Lord has blessed me because. Then Laban said, Name your wages and I'll pay them. So Jacob said to him, You know that I have done for you and your herds, and for your heart very little before I came for. Now your wealth has increased. The Lord had blessed
あ
you
これ
because
ヘッ
of
ドレベル
me.
よりショットしたらすぎる
And
な。
now,
あれ
will
だよね
I do something for my own family? Laban
絶対
asked,
外におる。
What should I give you? And Jacob said, You don't need to give me
Say what?
anything. If you do this one thing for me, I will continue all your sheep today and remove every sheep that is speckled or spotted. Dark-colored sheep among the lambs, and the spotted speckled among
あ、
the
少し
female
目にやつ
goats
とかおんの。
shall be my wages in the future.
Ah.
When you come to check on my wages,
なんか、よしよし。
in the future, when you come to check my wages, my honesty will be testified.
ああ
And if I have any female goats that are not speckled or spotted, or any lambs that are not black, they will be considered stolen.
あれだな。
Good,
そ
said
れはもう
Laban.
やること
Let it be as you have said. That day, Laban removed the speckled and spotted male and goat that are speckled and spotted female goats, and Every one of them had any white on it, and every dark colored one among the lambs he placed his son in charge of them. He put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob. Jacob, meanwhile, was shepherding the rest of Laban's flock. Jacob took the branch of his fierce poplar, almond bark, exposed white stripes of the branches. He set the peeled branches in the troughs in front of the sheep in the water channels where the sheep came to the sheep red they came to drink. Flock red in front of the branches and bore straight, speckled and spotted young. Jacob separated lambs and made flock's face the straight, completely dark sheep in Laban's flock. Then he set in his own stock apart, and we then put them in the rest of Laban. Whenever the stronger of the flock were breeding, Jacob placed the branches in his trough, in full view of the flocks, and they would breed in front of the branches, as well weakling of the flocks. He did not put out of the branches, so it turned out that the weak sheep belonged to Laban, and no longer wanted Jacob. And the man became very rich. He had many flocks, male and female slaves, and camel and donkeys. And that is where I'm gonna end my stream of reading the Holy Bible. And if you're watching this for some kind of reason, then thank you for that. Then I hope you have a good day, night, for until I stream again of me reading the Holy Bible from number 31. If I remember about it, yeah.
変なの。銀？あ、逃げろ。ここ開ける。これベッドルーム行こう。うわ、ショットガンだ。想定しないやつが悪い。うん。うっそ。じじ。こういうやつらに限ってすぐ逃げるんだ。